any human wants, and just to be accepted, right? To be accepted, to feel part of the people, and you're in a completely different country, completely different environment. So I was trying to find ways, and then they made an announcement, hey, kids get to bring food to class. Right. So I was like, So I went home. My sister was cooking at the time. I was like, listen, tomorrow we're gonna bring food to class. We're gonna bring the best Arabic food possible, so these kids can like me. I brought the food. We had menaish, and zaitul za'atar and all this stuff, and the black folks loved it, man. Right. They grabbed it like, this is delicious. This is the best food I ever had in my life. It was like, Mo, they called me Mo. Right. It was like, Mo, this is delicious, man. I'm sorry you keep bringing this food up here. We're boys. You're my boy. You're my homie. Right. So we became friends, and we say it's amazing what food does. Really, it breaks down complete barriers, breaks down stereotypes, breaks down everything. Just have a little bite of something, you get to know an entire community. Just by 300 million people, you get to know them just by having these.
Talk about discipline, Discipline, something that's lacking, man, all over. Go to a Walmart any Sunday afternoon. Oh, this is my toy. No, this is my toy. No, this is my toy. Ah! It's like, where are their parents? It's like their parents are walking away. Hey, I'm not gonna raise them. Somebody else raise them. And you can't do that anymore. No, there's Child Protective Services. I wish we had that when we were growing up. The only protective services I had was my arm trying to block the belt. That's it, right? Hey, bob and weave, hey. Took boxing for 6 years. You start knowing your mom's moves, you're like, oh, that was a good one. I hurt. I need some olive oil, quick. I need it.
When you were going to school, when did you become aware that you had a talent for comedy?
Well, I saw Bill Cosby when I was 11 years old at the rodeo in Houston, Texas. The rodeo. Hold down. Come on down, baby. Come on down to the rodeo in Houston, Texas. Right. So after they did that, my brother took me there, and I saw Bill Cosby perform, and I had no idea what stand-up comedy even was. This is 2 years being in the States. I was 11. So when I saw him, I was like, wow, this is really amazing. I wish I could do that someday. Next thing you know, some years went by, not really thinking about stand-up, just always an outgoing, very funny child. I was in ninth grade. My father passed away, Allah yarhamah, and I was, just as any teenager was, I was pretty rebellious at that time, really rebellious, and started, my teachers found a way to control me, like, hey, this kid is very funny, he's making the kids laugh, he's enjoying this, let's give him a shot at stand-up. He's always talked about it. Let's give him a shot. So at the end of class, you'd give me 5-6 minutes.
They said you were making the kids laugh. How were you making the kids laugh?
By being disruptive, by being quick-witted, by anything my teacher would spit out, and say that I found something funny within it. I would mention it to a student, and it would pass on. Next thing the whole class was laughing with me. So she was like, the only way I can control this kid is by playing to his humor. So she would play to my humor on a regular basis, and by the end of the week on Friday, she would give me 5 to 7 minutes to do stand-up comedy. And really, from that moment when I was 14 years old, performing in front of my classmates, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, this is the most relief I've had since my father passed away. It's helping me cope. And then she introduced me to the theater arts teacher, which later on became a huge part of my life, Miss Lugene Kreisner, and she taught me a lot of what I still use today, stage presence, how to project. So many little intricate details about performing in general. So it's amazing, subhanAllah, how Allah puts you in a certain place, in a certain position, and to fulfill your own destiny. When I was 17 years old, I would tell people, earlier than that, 15, 16 years old, I would tell people, when I graduate from here, I'm going to go to the Comedy Showcase and start doing stand-up comedy. I started out with the Houston's Funniest Person contest when I was 17, and I'm doing really well.
But what was your material like when you were 17? What were your subjects when you were 17?
You probably don't want that on camera. Not my subject matter. It was very silly at times, very silly at times. It was, I'll be honest, bowel movements. Everybody, yeah, exactly. That was my first joke. I didn't know what to expect in the comedy club. I didn't have any comedy club material written. When I saw that the Houston Comedy Contest was actually being done that day, that day on June 9th, that was the final day, and that's when I saw the sign-in sheet. 3 days later, I was on stage. And it's not like I had this plethora of material. It was high school stuff. It's not gonna translate into the comedy clubs. And so I had to find something quick. And I just.
And how did you do in that contest?
I did very well. I did very well. Made the finals. Got 4th place, and then somebody told me about the comedy showcase. And you should really go talk to Danny Martinez. They have developmental nights, have developed many comedians in the past, and gone on to be very successful, this and that, this and that. So I decided to take a chance, and that's the comedy showcase. That's the place that I was telling my own peers in high school that I was going to go perform in. You'll see me there if you guys want to come out. Not knowing who's the owner, if there is an owner or anything like that, who is he, and I just followed Allah's will, really. Next thing you know, I'm here. I was embraced by Danny Martinez after he saw me on stage. That evening, he told me that I was going to be his last student, and that he thinks that I'm going to do very well. I'm young, this and that. Next thing you know, I'm performing for U.S. troops about a year and a half later in Italy, Germany, and Sicily.
But you're performing for the U.S. troops. What's significant about you performing for U.S. troops?
The significance is that they've probably never seen anybody like me. They've never seen an Arab American Muslim going to perform for U.S. troops. This is pre 9/11. This is April, actually, of 2001. I started professionally. I started doing stand-up in comedy clubs in '99, professionally in 2000. And in 2001, I went overseas, and it was easier to talk about where I come from. It was a lot easier to talk about that I'm an Arab American, I'm a Muslim. It was still a shocker. Imagine that. It was still a shocker pre 9/11. So you can imagine what it was like after 9/11 when I decided to go do a Japan, Korea, Guam tour.
Well, were they as open to you at that time to come? I mean, were they ready for you to come right back? I mean,
absolutely not. I mean, they actually canceled me. They canceled me in '02. It was January of '02, and I was canceled, and I was furious.
They just didn't think Muhammad could be funny at that time. Huh?
They don't think Muhammad can be funny. They didn't see anything funny in it. They were afraid what kind of repercussions may come out of it. And their whole thing was, I'm gonna get hurt. I'm gonna get hurt. And I was like, you don't have to worry about me. It's like, no, if we're gonna bring you here, you're gonna need an escort with a gun. And I was like, escort with a gun? I was like, how do even people know who I am and where I come from if I'm just walking around? Are you trying to set me up? I'm Palestinian. I'm a conspiracy theorist to begin with. I think everything's a conspiracy. So I said, you know what? I'll pass. Just I'm looking for a better timing. Next thing you know, it was summertime. I can't remember exactly the dates. July, I think. We went and did Japan and Korea. Myself, another comedian by the name of Caroline Picard. And it was fine. I was very hesitant at first in using my background where I come from on stage, just because of the conversations I was hearing just standing around soldiers. So I said, you know what, this is probably not the best environment I want to open up and tell everybody who
What kind of conversations were you hearing?
I would hear things like, we need to get rid of all these damn Muslims and the Arabs trying to hurt us, and with these terrorists. And I was like, probably not the best thing to do. Probably go up on stage and be like, hey everybody, Palestinian Muslim right here. And I'm in a completely different country. I'm in Japan, so you can probably kill me and nobody will even care, nobody will even miss me, you can hide me quite well, you can throw me in the ocean, nobody will know. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this right now. So I would pick and choose the moments of where I wanted to open up and tell people. And then I went back again and again. I've been 6 times overseas, and I started opening up more and more. Next thing you know, people were very happy and intrigued, and I even found U.S. Marine soldiers in Iwakuni, Japan, loved my humor, talking about, my uncles being a refugee. My uncles, they even curse backwards sometimes. They say things backwards. It's just natural things, like FBI, my uncle says fibby, oh, the fibby's coming. I'm like, who? He's like, fibby, what's a fibby, man? Fibby means like you just told a lie, like a little bitty lie. I was like, what are you talking about? Things like that. Pharmacy, paharmacy, Rohad paharmacy. Go get my medicine from Paharmacy. Who's Paharmacy? Is that a dude I don't know?